Today our session will be on the like it's a basic DWP session, DWP catalog session, where we are going to have a demo on how to create a service DWP catalog service, and then we are going to check how we can import and export DWP service. Today I'll be presenting and Ram will be presenting with me as well. So I'll just move to the agenda. So as you can see on the screen, first we'll check how we can create the service. Then in that service workflow, we will be using that out of the box workflow, out of the box request manager approval process. And then we will also create a fulfillment, like we'll give option to create an incident, or we'll give option to create a work order in one of the use case of IT service request. And then after that, Ram will be taking the quick session on the export and import services in DWP catalog. There are a couple of types of exporting exporting and importing services from DWP catalog, and also importing the services from the external system that he will show you, and then he will talk about the best practices to import the services. Okay, and you can ask me question, like we'll first complete the session, we'll give you time, and then you can ask me questions, so that way we can save some time, and maybe some questions will be clear during the presentation as well. Okay, so I'll just move to the next slide. So from this use case where while creating the DWP catalog service, I know like many of us you in the session have not created a service or may not have worked on this. So this is a good session for you where you can understand the quick flow. So in this case, basically, you can see on my screen where I have given two screenshots. So in the very first, what we will do in the DWP, we will have this UI. And in that, you can see we will have a type of a request. We will just basically the request will be a IT request. Okay, and then we will give option to a user if he wants to request for a laptop, a new laptop. Then we will give him option to select the size. If he select yes, then we'll give him a question that to select a size, like maybe he want a 15 inches laptop, 17 or 20 inches laptop. So that option we will give him, and then if he selects the report hardware issues, then we will give him an option to select the basically what type of issue he has, like maybe issue with the laptop, it's completely down or crashed, or maybe it's an issue with the screen or a keyboard, or if it's having all the issues he has. So that option we will give. So with the first use case to create a new laptop, it will create basically a work order. And the second option, if he selects yes, then it will create an incident. Okay, this will be the this will be basically the end user view, and then there will be one description field here, and that is a text area. Basically, there user can write more details, whatever he want. Maybe he want to say something, maybe more details, so that he can add. So for this request, I'll show you that on the screen before we start demo. But I'll move to the next. So for doing this, in the workflow, right, what we will need to do is basically we need to take the inputs from user, right? So first of all, we will create the 5 input variables. Those 5 input variables will be a description. Then if a user wants to, basically user going to select it yes or no, right? That is if he wants to have he wants to request for a laptop, then he will select a new laptop. So for that, we will create a new laptop input variable. Similarly, we will create a laptop size input variable, report hardware issues, and describe problem. So that will be for the hardware issues, right? I will ask them, give them three of the checkboxes to select. And then after that, there will be a service broker context variable. So this context variable will be needed to this will basically give us more fields where we can take all the details. We can get more details from the service request that we have submitted. Like for example, I'll show you in the demo, but it will have some the service request ID. You can give it in the workflow. Then you can also have a service ID, or you can take the login names. So that we will see, but it is always important that we select the service broker context variable to get the details from the service. And from the flow, what it will do first, once a user submit a request, he could select any option. If you want to select a laptop or you want to have the hardware fixed. So for that, first it will go to the approval. This will be the approval of it is a default approval. The default approval will go to its manager, like for users manager who's submitting the request. So requested for user will have some manager should be there in the people form. So the request will go to him, and then after once it is approved, it will basically checks if the request is basically to create a work order. I mean, basically to create a have a laptop or to report a hardware issue. So based on that, it will create a work order or an incident. And after that, it will just complete it. Once the status of the fulfillment will be completed, it will just end of the flow. So during this process, now these details I have just explained that we are going to check in the demo. So I don't want to spend much time here. So we can spend time in the demo. Okay. So let me just bring that screen here. Second, first of all, I have already created a service, but I will also show you where the time when we have to create few things that I will create, but we have a service ready, so that way we can save some time. So here is my service that I have created just to show you like how it looks first. Then we'll go to the development of that. So this is the service that you see on the screen. And if you click on the request now, so user see these options. So right now you can see request for a new laptop. If I select yes here, I get a option to select the screen size, right? Laptop screen size. And I have an option to select any one of the three screen sizes, right? And then here, if I select report hardware issues, if I select yes, I get three options. Here I can see, I can set, I like select multiple options here. Okay, because the problem can be different. And this flow, you can write it as, I mean, this is a design. You can do it anyway, like however you want as per the business needs. And then in the description field, whatever user wants to write, he can write it. Okay. So that way, this is how the service for end users, the view for end user. Now we'll just take this end user side and we'll bring the admin user screen. Okay. So as I said, request I have already created, but let's first, let me show you how you can create a new service. So here, first you have to select create a new service. Sorry, I'll go from the in the tab here. As an administrator, as a catalog administrator, you can log into DWP catalog and you see this tab services and select the services. Then you have an option to create new service. Just select a new service, give some name, select a template, and just click on create service. Okay, and then we don't require everything here. Whatever we need to start with, we'll just show you that. So here, first of all, you'll have to select the catalog profile. So in the catalog profile, you have to select a mandatory field, a logo. Select a logo. I have selected as this BMC logo. Here, give a service except whatever you want to put. Okay, then you can give a tag. Tag will be the way to find your service quickly, right? I'll just put it as a request. Okay, and then give a description that you want. Use. Okay, and this is a fulfillment as a internal fulfillment. That is a default. There is another option here, external link. Will not go to that. This will basically take you to the another website. Maybe anyone wants to take their users to the their website, right? I mean, the request should go to that website for a fulfillment process. So that is a different thing. So here we will just talk about the internal workflow. So this is where we get the cases mostly. So this way, we'll just save the this part here. Now, in the workflow, you have to just click here on the workflow, just click on edit. And here in the workflow, just click on add. Then in the actions, click on new workflow. Just say Test workflow. Okay, here. Okay, I'll just minimize this. You see the start and end, this circles, right? Let's take it here. Yeah. Okay. So now, before you start development, you first need to add a workflow, and in that you have to add the input variables, right? That we have I just showed you earlier. So just go ahead, add the input variables here on the right hand side panel. You see the add a variables. So add or remove variables. Click here, add variable. First, we'll add the context variable. This is the name, and here in this data type, we'll select service broker context variable. Okay. Then you can click on add new. So here we will just write it. Let me see. Yeah, let me set that new laptop. Okay, then we'll add one more. These are all the text inputs we are going to take. Then we'll add that laptop size here. Okay, there are more options. Let's not add everything right now. I'll show you that. But let's give another as a sorry, not this, as a description. Okay, this is text as well. Just save this. So now here you have your input variables, and now you can save your workflow, and you can start from here, or you can create your question first. So we prefer to go create a question. So because that will be, that way it would be good to, see the things like what we are developing. So what end user is going to add an input. So I basically prefer to go with the adding questions. So I'll just save the workflow for now here. Okay. Just you have to select that workflow. Okay, this is the workflow. Just save. Just let me save it for now, else we'll lose that. Okay, now we'll just add questions here. Similarly, create a single user request. Okay, you see this process questions here. So these are the questions from the your workflow, right? That is the process. So let's try to select this new laptop. Let's try to add that. And we'll select in the option, we'll select as a radio button. Okay, this is the radio button. You can put anything. Request for new laptop. Okay, then in the question values, this can be dynamic. You may take it from any other form. Like for example, if you want to have some user selected, then you can take select it as a dynamic, and then just select the form from here, like maybe CTM people form, and then you can take the inputs from that. But here we'll just use the static one because we have to take the inputs with just we are going to see give only 3 options. So here I will just say yes. Stored value will be yes. Okay, and then we'll give one more no. Okay, we'll just save it. Now there will be like a let me see if I have selected the default here. If you click, it will always have the default value. So just click it here. So no will be default value when users open that request. So now I will take the laptop size, right? Laptop size I want when this request, sorry. Sorry. So when the user select the input as yes, we want that. So me take this as okay, single. Let me take it as a single select actually. Drop down single select. Okay, so user will have a drop down there. So similarly, we can take the inputs here. No, sorry, not dynamic, static. 15, 17. And we can give one more option. I'll just keep it as it 2 options here. So now we want that user to first populate this question only after the user select as a yes. So let me just select a new conditional branch here. So here insert question. So this is request for laptop. That is the one we have. And then if the input is yes, then here is the question. We'll just try to drag and drop here. Okay. So it will just populate here. You can see it is in the block. So if the input is yes, it will just show you these options. Okay. So now I'll just take the description field as well here. Put it as this. So description will be your text area. Okay. There is nothing much to add here. You can change the label. You want to keep add some like maybe description, keep it as a description field. Yes. Default value you want to add. There are many things, but ignore it for now at the start. So these are the options. I'll just save it. We have more fields to save, but just save that. Okay, just then select this save here. Okay, so now you have your question ready. Just go back to the workflow. Okay, in the workflow, now the very first step was to add the approval. Then we also wanted to add the the create work order with identifier. So first start with the adding the approval here. So your approval, to add the approval, you'll have to select the call activity element. So I'll just select call activity. So this call activity element will let you select the other processes as well. Whatever the process you create, you can add this process here and then you can call it directly. Okay, you can add multiple processes accordingly. You don't need to fill everything in the same workflow. You can add call activities to call the processes, other processes, I mean. So here the same way you can add the out of the box the request approval process as well. So here to here we'll give some name as request approval in the label, and then here select request approval in the processes. So this is a DWPC approval library, and in that you have this process request approval process. Okay, you have selected that, and now you get the options. Now here you can select whatever the options you want to select here. So in the service ID, so as I said earlier, about the service broker context variable, you can select the service broker context here. You see you have many options here to select, right? You can select requested by for service. Inside the service you have other options. Then you have a service request. So here we want to select the service ID. So inside this we should have a service ID. Let's add this, go to the next. Okay, let me just go back. Yeah, this is a process approval process name, right? So since this is a default process, you don't need to give a name here. Okay, so here is the default. I'm just here in the approval processes. So in that, this is the default approval process that comes from the service broker. So this is a SB request manager approval. So you don't need to give a name here. Sorry, screen sharing. Yeah. So you don't need to give name here. I can requesting user. I can select the login ID. Just select type in there. Okay. Login name requested by. Then here process we can ignore. Approval status we don't need currently. If you scroll down, there are some required fields. Requesting for user. In the approval process, select requested for user. Okay, go to the next. You can go to the next. The next field is like this approval summary you can add. So in order to add the text, right? You just if you want to add a text, you have to do it in the double quotes. So I'll put it is this is approval request, and then we'll have to put plus, and then I'll say login ID of a user plus. We'll just say the service request ID will provide them in the summary. Okay, so in the service broker context variable, we have a service request. Inside that, you see service request ID is also there. So you can simply select it here. Just give some space here. Okay. Request ID is this. Okay, this is just one of the way, and you can write it whatever you want as per the business needs. You can give a service name. Similarly, service name you will get it here in the service broker context. Service name will be in the service name here. Then okay, and then here service request ID. You can select the service request ID again in from the service broker context variable. So let me ID. Okay, and that's it, I think. So you just have to navigate this to this, like start from the approval request approval. Now just add exclusive gateway. Since we are going to have a condition to check, we'll add a exclusive gateway here. This will be for if or else, right? You want to do it this way, one or that one. So that way we'll have to select exclusive gateway. Now I'll just point this to exclusive gateway flow, and then select the create in the palette, right? On the left hand side, select create work order. Identifier. Okay, and then I'll take this one to the end. So in the create work order element, the connection, you'll have to select the remedy connector. So this will have the like this should be connected in order to make it work. So you'll select the remedy connector, and then service request ID. This is not a mandatory field, but you can take the service request ID from the context, and then let's only select the one that you want. If you want to select more fields, you can select it here, and then you can pass it accordingly. But here in the summary also, let's put some summary. Laptop request for user, give all users requested for login ID. Okay. Okay, like for, I think this should be okay. Just give space here. Okay, so this will be the summary, and then in the description, we'll give that description field. Okay, and what we will give is that we also have the laptop size, right? As an input variable, we'll give that laptop size as well here. So that, I mean, this is just to explain you how what you can do with those variables. So in the description of the work order, you'll have this description, whatever a user put, and then you'll have the laptop size as well. Okay, here, and then, sorry. Okay, we have description, and then let me select the process correlation ID here. This is mandatory to have your status sync properly. You should select the process correlation ID. It should be in the general, yeah, process correlation ID. Yeah, I think that should be okay. We'll just save it, okay? So process definition. Okay, let me see why it is in disable state. Okay, so basically this way we can create the service. This is the only one I had showed is about the work order. Now I will just quickly show you how the incident have been created. So I'll just open the flow that I have created. That is a final flow that I have. So now I will just show you the difference here. It is just a thing like after the approval, after selecting all the details here in the approval, there will be a condition I have created that here, if you click on this bar, it will show you the condition. Like you can add the condition here as a, if you just have to click on edit and add the condition. So I have added it like if new laptop is equal to yes, yes, I have given that stored value as double yes by mistake. But yeah, if it is yes, then it will execute this process to create a work order. If it is no or any other value, it will just execute the create incident with identifier flow. So this is the create incident with identifier. You can select it from palette. And on the right hand side, you can see we have selected as a connection ID, remedy, then service request ID, as you have seen. Then some of the fields you have to select as service request type that are mandatory in the incident to incident request. Then impact as a too insignificant or large, and urgency as medium, reported source as phone. And in the summary, I have put it like this: IT request hardware issue reported by the login ID. Okay. And then in the description, I have given as a description and describe problem. So whatever the fields user have selected, you can see that. Then submitter as a login ID of requested by from the context and login ID of the requested for user or by I have selected same actually, but yeah, and then a process correlation ID. Okay, there is one more thing you can do here. Instead of typing this manually, right, these fields like this impact and urgency, there you can add a template also. So there is a way you can just simply, if you have a template created in incident HPD in template form, you can simply add a template name here. Okay, then it will just pick up that template directly from here. So you don't need to specify everything here. Then it will just pick up from the template. So after that, it will just execute your flow and then that request should be completed, or maybe it's in the assigned state. Once it is moved to the completed, it will just end the flow. Okay, I'll just show you now quickly how it works. I'll just log in as I logged in as an end user already. Okay, so this is the request. So let me select yes here. I have selected as 17 inches. I'll say need laptop urgently. Okay. This is the test 123 user. Sorry for such name, but yeah, it was I just created like this. So I will simply, so with this, it should create a first approval and then it should then create this. It should just create a work order and I should get a first approval with the HANA admin. So I'll just submit it first. Then I'll just go to the HANA admin screen. So this will take, I think, 1 minute on the test system. So just allow me a minute. Meanwhile, I'll show you something here. Okay, so now I'll just go to the other screen. Okay, so in the service request report, this is the active request. This is the request ID 314 in the service request report form. So in the service request stuff form, you can go and you can select search with this in the service request ID. what's happening there. So, okay. So now it says it's waiting to be sent. Just approval status is waiting for approval. Okay. Now I will just go to the DWP as a Hannah, who is the manager, I have said. So I'm just expecting approval. Okay, so this is the approval request. So this is the summary we have set right in the summary. So this is a request waiting for your approval, service request ID 314. This is what I have specified earlier. So this is what we can see it now. I'll just approve it.
Sorry to interrupt, Gaurav. It looks like your screen is freezed. Is it just for me or anyone observing the same?
Actually, we lost the audio also for a minute.
It is freezed,
Okay.
actually.
Let me reshare. Thanks for letting me know. Let me do it again. Okay. Let me know if you can see.
Yeah, now we can see it. I mean, I think we lost for last 15-20 seconds. So if you can repeat that.
Yeah. So basically for with the HANA admin, I got the approval request. And then I have this is the approval summary that I have set in the workflow in the call activity. So that the request is waiting for your approval. This is what I have added in the summary. And then the service request ID. And this is the variable from the context. So this is picking up the service request ID for me. So I just approved it right now. I'll go to the stuff form. I'll just refresh it here. And I see the work order is created. But let's look at the from the end user's perspective. So let me refresh it here. So here we can see the work order is completed. Sorry, work orders is created, and this is the work order. I'll just go to that work order quickly. Okay, so this is in the work order. Here's the request, new laptop request for this user. This is login ID actually. Okay, in the summary and in the description, I need a laptop urgently. This is the description, and the laptop size is 17 inches. So this is the one thing. And now let me quickly submit this. Submit for other requests. Just let me do it here. Catalog item. Okay, I'll select all options here. Okay, need help. I'll just submit. So 315. Let me see. Okay, let's wait for approval to create. It's 315. You can come here. Search with this. Okay, strange. Let me. Okay, I have an approval request. Just approve now. Okay, so this is in the stuff form. I'm expecting incident to be created. So let me go to end user view. This is end user view, refreshing it. This is in progress currently. So this takes some time, up to 1 minute on test system. On customer environment, it process much quickly, I see. But yeah, it may take a minute. And also we can check that in the catalog service request report also here. Any error or it's failed for some reason. No, this is the one. Yeah, it failed for some reason. No groups found for using routing. Oh, sorry, I'm not sure why I got this right now, but earlier I was not getting it. But yeah, I mean, this will create an incident. I got this created. I got the incident created earlier, but not sure why I'm getting error right now. But yeah, it should create an incident, and in the incident, you should have this in the description screen issues, keypad issues. So currently, due to some this error from the configuration of from ITSM routing, like that routing method is not selected properly. I think something missed. So that's why I'm not getting it. The request is not that incident is not created right now. But yeah, this way it will create an incident as well, and that should be it, I think.
Yeah, Gaurav, maybe you can see the
yeah.
earlier, show the earlier created incident.
Yeah,
that
sure,
error is
let me do that.
Mostly related to the configuration assignment rule, which is not
Sure.
available.
Let me do that quickly. I should have created. Yeah. So for example, this, right? Yeah. For example, this one. In the description, you can see laptop repair I selected earlier, and then in that the available options like screen issues, keypad issues, laptop crash. So all these options that I had selected from the question, it is there. And in the summary, I had added this, right? IT request hardware issue reported by test123, this login ID. So this way it actually creates. So and all the fields that we have added, right? Here in the create incident with identifier, in the impact urgency, these fields are here, incident type and reported source phone. So that way it will create and we'll show the details. Okay, I'll just move back to the slide. Just let me know for you any questions you have, or we can go for the further slide.
Hey Gaurav, this Kranti. On the approval side, right? So I have a couple of questions on the approval side. One is, how did it, I know you showed the approval process as service request, manage approval process. Is there anything else we need to do to, so that it takes from the people form, right? Who is the manager for the requested by? Does it go by requested by or requested for?
It goes for the requested for, actually.
Okay, requested for login. Okay, and then it goes to the manager, right? So for that one, whatever the default variables you selected, that's all you need to do. Yeah,
that's correct.
And then apart from the call activity, you selected one more process there. It's not process, one more probably whatever in the process you selected something apart from the approval, just as a conditional branch, right?
Yeah, let me come here.
The X mark.
Here you're saying? You're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Here actually, I have selected as what user wants to do. Basically, here in this new laptop, if he wants to do a new laptop, then we can create a work order. Similarly, here we can add one more branch here. Like we can add one more exclusive gateway to say if user has approved the request, then just move to the next flow. If user rejected the request, then just move to the end of this. This one also we can add extend, but yeah, here it is. But yeah, in this option, we just have many fields to select, but yeah, only these many are important, like required fields we need to set.
Okay. And so as you said, right, so if I want, if it's rejected, then go to end. Do I need to create one more gateway for that?
Yes. One more gateway you need to create. And in that gateway, you can put as a status equal to approved or state. And then if it is approved, then go to the next. I mean, the working one, the one we have here. If it is rejected, then you'll have to put it here. You have to take that arrow to till the end. Or you can add an additional element as set service request to rejected.
So for every condition, we need to have an exclusive gateway.
Yeah, you should have a exclusive gateway or a parallel gateway. So conditional one will be exclusive gateway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other question I had was service excerpt versus service description. So service excerpt, does it act as a tags or?
It is just a small piece of information actually about your service. So description is where you can add more details where you are going to describe and it will show you on the DWP when user actually clicks on the request.
Yeah, so I was always confused about service exit, how that plays the role. So where does it show up and why should we give that value?
Yeah, actually, this is the mandatory one. Let me show. Not with this, I think this one.
So
Yeah,
you've
here
designed.
this is a description we can see here. But yeah, for the I think for the service excerpts, I think it should show here, in my opinion. If the but I think that there is an option right to select small icons or a large icons. I think
Okay,
that I need to check. I'm not 100% confirmed. I think with that option we would be able to see it here, but I'm not 100% sure at this point.
no
That I
problem.
need to check back. Yep.
Thanks.
Gaurav, with respect
Yes, sir.
to that catalog design, right? Same
Mhm.
Kranti had that question. I also have a similar question. Does it play
Mhm.
any role in global searching of the catalog services? Like you have tags and you have
Uh,
accept.
yeah. You have a tags actually to find the service that will sorry.
It's in
Yeah,
the
tags
catalog.
will be tag will be the I mean something like we have in the SRM as well, right? That tags actually will show the services quickly. Like it will be easy to find. Let me add the document also here that talks about all these fields, so it will be very
At tags
easy.
like Ravi, tags are like our keywords, right? If you want
Yeah,
to search
keywords. Yeah.
these services in DWP, so you can use these tags while searching in the global search of DWP, so that you can see these services over there. Yeah, in SRM as we use the keywords, so these
Okay.
tags are mentioned like as keywords.
Yeah, and for the
Okay.
DWP, right? DWP catalog checks that data and service request search cache, right? You also have that all the data you can see it there also. So that data gets stores accordingly. But yeah,
Okay. And the other question was about the context, SB context variable. Can you give more details or like give a short understanding? Like, is it necessary to have that in all the
uh,
services to be created?
yes, because see, service broker context variable will give you the more details about the service request that you have created, right? Because just take an example, if you want to take the requested for, if you want to take the service request ID before it is created, you're putting it as a variable, right? So it gives you option to select there, because otherwise, yeah, there will be difficult, right? I mean, if you want to show something like to user, this is a service request ID, then the logic will be difficult. So in this with the service broker context variable, we have some, I mean, what we can say, like we have some fields that out of the box fields that is coming from the service and that are supported. That gives you directly from that workflow. I mean, let me show actually because without service broker context, you won't be able to show the details about the services. So for example, we take
So,
any
so
field
you're saying that this context needs to be added in each designer, every
as
service that you
as
define.
yeah, as per your need. I mean, what
Hmm.
service you are developing, right? So the logic that we have currently, in that logic, we had a requirement to show users login ID, or we have a requirement to put the user login IDs in this properties. So here in the service broker context, here all the data about the service you see it here, right? Submitted by user service request. In that service request, you have a many option about that submit date you get service request ID is good, whatever. I mean priority name and all. So that otherwise without adding this, if you don't add this variable, you'll not be able to make a use of this, right? I mean, it is not possible to take that data.
So is it kind of a entire complete class and referring to the SB service request of fields, or it's something different? I'm
No,
just
no, it
trying
is not
to
referring
understand.
to service request stuff fields. Actually, it is a out of the box variable that we have into the product itself. You're just actually using that. You're not defining that anywhere. It is, or I mean, it is inbuilt SB context. Yeah.
Okay. And if so, anything that we need to define as custom, we'll add it as variable. I mean, nothing can be newly can be added in the context, SB
Yeah,
context.
right. That's true. Yes, we have to add it in the input variable separately, not in the SB context. We cannot add that actually.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Thank you guys for your questions. Let me move to the next slide now. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead, Ram.
Hey, hi everyone. So let's talk about regarding services exporting and importing in a digital workplace catalog. So as this mentions like export, right? So export will help us to move the services what we have created in our lower environment to other environment or other systems. So export will help us to reduce our work. Like for example, if we have created one service in our dev system and if we can move the same to our other environments like QA or production. So export we can do from the, as an admin, you can log into DWP catalog and you can do the export of the service by selecting appropriate the specific service which you want to move. So here while doing the export, we need to take care of few things. Like whenever we export the service, we need to check like it will be having less number of revision histories. So as a best practice, we always need to uh, select the published version of the service, which will be exported in a zip file with the information like the catalog profile information, workflows, questions, and other metadata like SLAs, if anything, or cost details if you have mentioned in the created service. So can you go next, Gaurav? Can you move to next slide? Yeah. So regarding importing services from external systems, so we can have two options to import a service in any DWPC, like importing services from other environment, and one more option we have like we can import services from the external systems. So external systems like AWS, BAO, TSO, or Remedy like our SRDs. So as an external to import the from external service, someone needs to have be a DWPC administrator or an internal service supplier roles need to be with them. So whenever we import any service from external services, first we need to make sure that the connectors are present in our DWPC environment. So once we have successfully configured the connectors, like for example, AWS Marketplace connector or AWS Service Catalog connector, then we can, once the connection is successful, then only we can import the services. We can do a demo by importing services like SRDs into our DWP catalog. So next we have, can you go to next slide? So next is copying services. As I mentioned earlier, we can copy the services from one environment to another environment by importing the service. So here importing, we can do like select the file which we have exported previously from one like dev environment, and by selecting our required import handlings, we can import the service. So please do remember, like whenever you do an import, we need to make sure that we need to select those options which are applicable. Like if you want to override the service workflow, you need to select that appropriate option where a workflow option. And if you want to revisions and status conflict, right, you need to select that one as well. So let me show you these options by doing a demo. Let me share my screen.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So right now I am on 22.x version. So previously, whenever we wanted to import a service, I'm talking about importing. So whenever we want to import any service in older versions like 20 till 21.x, right? Whenever we want to import a service, so I logged in as an admin, come to services. Now select a service. So you can see here under this service, we do have two revisions. Okay, so one is published and one is approved. So this is an test environment, so we have less versions, but for some of the customers, right, they will be having multiple revision histories. Like if they are keep on doing modifications and they publish the service, then it will keep on adding the revision histories over here. So it will be more revision histories present under that specific service. So from 22.x, right, as I mentioned, if I want to import a export a service, so we can come to action and select export. So here we will be get this pop-up where you can select your required version. So if you want to export only published version, which means the one which currently available to the customers, right? So you can select that one. If you want to have all the revision histories, right, which are present under that specific service, you can select the second option. So that is so previously in older versions we used it to whenever, for example, this is an older version 21.x. Okay, for example, if I am trying to so here if you see, right, if we are have here also we have two versions. So if I come to my services and if I select the service and if I try to export, it will not prompt that pop-up, and it will not allow me to select the version details. Like if I want to like export published version only or the revision histories. So here, like the older version had some drawbacks. Like if it is exporting all the revision histories, and if we are trying to import it in the newer other environment, if it is having more version, right, we use it to get the timeout error, which caused like the service corruption or the service was not properly import into the uh, required destination environment. So here if you can see, if I click export, here I can select the specific versions. Like published version only I can select over here, and I can confirm, so that it will have only information related like the service profile information, workflows, questionnaires, and metadata related to this specific published version alone. So right now I have opened published version, so these informations will be present with that. So this is how the export works, and the difference between the older version and the newer version. Now we will talk about importing the services from the external services, right? So right now, most of the customers will use SRD imports and services importing from AWS. Right now in this environment, we don't have the connector, AWS connector, and the instance for AWS. So let me try to explain about this importing the services like SRD, service request definitions, into DWPC. So here these are the connectors what we have already present in the system. So here you can see these are the connectors available. So if I go to catalog, from I logged in as an admin, go to catalog, select import, right? Now select the connector. So this will be the ITSM connector, which will be having my ITSM connector details. So let me open that connector information as well. So here you can see. So it is pointing to platform user ext and HANA admin details. Okay, so as I mentioned, whenever we are importing any services from external systems, we need to make sure that that connector will always need to be in connected status, means it should be success. So here I will come over here. I have selected this ITSM and let me click on catalog import options. Now I will be able to see the existing SRDs in our ITSM, like that AR system. Okay. So for example, you can see here previously I have imported one of the SRD. So right now let's see for so for the first time whenever we will try to import, right? So we can select the SRD and it will not have in configured status. So click on configure. So for the first time, the SRD will not have any template over here. So you need to select the template name. Under profile details, you need to select which information you want to map to service expert and service description. Okay, let me show you one from scratch. So for example, if you see this is the SRD I'm selecting. So whenever you will click on this one, you will able to see this blank. Now select the template. Okay. After that, this profile details will show up over here. Now you can select. These are the information you will be getting from SRD. Like in the SRD, we will be having like description, all the details, right? So you can select those details. You can preview. So this is how it will look. Save and queue to import. So now this SRD is ready for importing. Okay. So let me do this sample workflow one. Okay. So once we configure the details, click on queue for import. Now it is in queue. You can see from here. Okay. Let me remove this. So let's do it. So now this is ready for import, right? Now you have an option import. Now we can go back to here. And here you can see the sample work order SRD is imported. Okay. Now, once we import it, it will be present under your services pending section. Okay. So it will not be available to end customer because it is still in pending status. So whatever SRDs we will import, it will be present under pending section. So select that and cross verify the details. And if you want to do any changes, you can change, like if you want to change the logo or the information, like these details description, and if you want to add more keywords or tags, you can do that. Okay. And you can check the workflow as well, like what questionnaires are present, and if you want to do any changes on the workflow which got created, you can do that, right? So once you are okay with all the information like workflows, questionnaires, and the catalog profile, you can approve and publish. Now it will disappear from here and you can see under published services. So this service is now published and we can see it under DWP. Okay, so this is how we can import the services from external systems. Like if we have more connectors, as I mentioned earlier, from here you can see AWS or Flexera, all those connectors, uh, and we need to have those service offerings in their external system modules. Then only we can like whenever we are clicking on the catalog import option, we will be able to see the available offerings over here and we can import into our DWPC. Okay. Next, let me go through for importing. So I have exported this previously from this environment. Let me import the same over here. So go to services. Again, you can see my services option. So over here, you can see the option import from file. So as I mentioned, once we export the file, it will be going to imported as an zip file, which will have all the information. So from here, select import file, open. Now select these options and confirm. You can see like the service is successfully imported. Oh, sorry, this is actually imported. Let me, no, let me export this one. All versions. So the file name is 3. Okay. So here we can see. So here it is in published version. So here you can see, right, I have selected that option as with all versions. So that is the reason I am able to see both approved revision history and published revision history. And once we can log into DWP. So here you can see. And this is from where I have exported, right? And here it is the environment where I have imported. So the same service has imported successfully.
And just one quick point I want to add here. If your service is very huge, right? Some services, sometimes customer develop a service in the dev and then it's a very huge. They have a complex workflows and so a number of elements in the service. And sometimes it's when you import it, it takes a very longer time. Okay. So now like what happens, you don't see the service quickly, but what it will do, you will see the service maybe in 1 or 2 minutes and you can see that you can keep watching the in-app notification if the service has any error or if it is if it is imported successfully, you will see there. So if you click on that in-app notification, Ram once.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you would get the a message here that your service is published, or if it is failed. If it's failed, then it will give you some kind of some snippet of the log. It may or may not be helpful, but at least you will get to know that there is some error you got and your service not imported because of that. Because earlier in previous versions, we used to see such issues where services customer used to get just services failed with the a timeout error, but there is no such messages on the front end. So, but yeah, it's now we can see that in the in-app notification.
Correct. Yeah. So actually, as Gaurav mentioned, if it is taking longer time, so if you are not able to see the same in your front end, I mean to say like DWP, sometimes it will take time to rebuild the cache, service cache in the backend, right? And once the service cache is successfully built, then only we will be able to see over here while doing the search. So as I mentioned while exporting, so we need to export with lesser revisions, and it will be better if we export the service with published version. And also if we have more revision histories, it will be recommended to delete the older revision histories from that specific service. And also, as I mentioned, while you are importing any service, please make sure that the connector names which we will be using in the workflow, as previously Gaurav mentioned, if you remember, while creating the workflow, we are selecting the connector IDs, right? So we need to make sure the connector names to be present in both the destination and source, or else it will throw an error like the connector is not present in our destination system.